Hey everybody, this is Hondo Carpenter from the Las Vegas Raiders Insider Podcast. As you know from Sports Illustrated's Fan Nation Raiders Today, super excited to bring back again as a guest again my coworker, my colleague from Sports Illustrated's Fan Nation, all Dolphins, the great Alan Poupar, not only a great reporter, but happens to be a great personal friend, and our families certainly feel that way reciprocated towards each other. Alan, good to talk to you again, buddy. It seems like I was just with you at the Combine.
I know, right? We're gonna stop meeting like this. And before I say anything else, a happy birthday, my friend.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much. Now, Alan, um, we talked about this at the Combine. I told you that the Raiders were going to make a significant push and go after Wilkins. They loved him. They do. I want to go over the specifics with you because I think the Raiders did not overpay. They were frugal,
Okay.
but not cheap. And I'll give you an example. If they think a guy's worth 10, they're not going to pay 10.5, but they're not going to offer him 7 either. They believe in paying their guys what they think they're worth. So Christian gets a 4-year, $110 million deal, $84.6 million guaranteed. Now, a couple of things about this deal stand out to me. Number one, they think he is a superstar. Him and Aaron Donald, 1A and 1B. And it depends on who you're talking to, who's the best defensive tackle between the two of them. High motor, super high motor. He's going to be very effective in the run game, very effective in the pass rush. He's a guy that's going to be out there. He's not going to be a cancer in the locker room. Guys aren't going to hate him. Guys aren't going to dislike him. The coaches here have some history. He is a guy that's going to come in. Now, the media may not like it because he just doesn't enjoy doing the media, but you and I both know that doesn't make you a good or bad person. He's not a jerk to the media. He doesn't like it, and he's very honest about it. I don't enjoy doing it. I don't like it. So I'm good with that. I've dealt with a lot. Jerry Tillery was a guy who's now left that was like that. So I have no issue with that whatsoever. And but let's talk first. He's one of the best, high motor, great locker room guy, great practice guy. This was a big deal for the Raiders. Why didn't the Dolphins re-sign him? Because they lost quite a few pieces today. Was it all salary cap?
Most of it was salary cap. And let me backtrack a little bit, if I may. He's a very good player. I think if you start mentioning him along the same lines as Aaron Donald, this is where I don't know if you noticed I made kind of a face where I would be like, I think temper your expectations a little bit because and as a lot of Dolphin fans have pointed out, he recorded a career high 9 sacks last season. Most of those, every one of those, except one against the Bills in the season finale, where he got the sack strip fumble recovery, were in blowouts against bad teams. He's not a guy who's going to take over a game. I mean, again, which is why I think all of us down here we're expecting him to get big numbers because of what the defensive tackle position did last year, because of the crazy contract Chris Jones got, and Chris Jones also way more impactful than Christian Wilkins. So to answer your question, as I circle around it, it was a combination. The Dolphins tried to re-sign Christian Wilkins to a long-term extension last offseason. He wanted more than they were willing to give. They already had him on the 5th-year option. So they went ahead and go, okay, well, we can't work out a deal, so let's play. And then this year they decided not to franchise tag him, which would have cost him $22 million, which in retrospect, you can make the argument, why wouldn't the Dolphins do that for 1 year, since a lot of the moves they had made in the offseason prior to that kind of spoke about going all in. And I think in the final analysis, the Dolphins have other players who are coming up that they're going to have to give big contracts to, like Javon Holland, Jalen Waddle, Jalen Phillips. It looks like they're going to sign to a long-term extension in the offseason. And there's only so many big contracts they can give out. And I think what the Dolphins decided is, if you look at positional value for a defensive tackle, for the amount of money it's going to cost, that's not good business for us. So Christian, we love you, but good luck.
And the thing is I talked to 3 NFL executives today who all said, well, that's not true. 2 of them said they thought him and Aaron Donald 1A, 1B, and then one said Aaron Donald Chris Jones and him 1A, 1B, 1C, all that. So that's not a Hondo opinion. That's coming at what executives said. And to say that and this is where we just Alan and I disagree. Defensive tackles don't go take over a game like a Max Crosby, but they do. They are space eaters that allow your linebackers to do more in the running game. And I think there are just some things that Wilkins does there. Let's talk about him, the individual. He does not enjoy doing media, but that's okay. That doesn't make him a bad person at all.
No, he's
I'm in the media, and there are sometimes I look at the questions that these people get asked, and I'm like, I I would literally, I would not be good on the other side of the camera because I'd look at some people and go, "Are you that stupid?" I'm not. I don't blame them. I've dealt with a lot of people like that and have tremendous relationships, but he is a glue guy. And the Raiders coaches, some of them have history with him and they love him. Talk about the locker room presence of Christian Wilkins, would you?
Yeah, no, he's a leader. And this is something I wrote on alldolphins.com that and certainly when I say he's not Aaron Donald, he's not Chris Jones, I certainly don't want to downplay him. He's a very, very good player. He was a foundational piece for the Dolphins when the Dolphins like really basically blew everything up in 2019, dumped a whole bunch of veterans, stocked up on draft capital, stocked up on cap space. Christian Wilkins was their first round pick, the first guy, 13th overall. And he came in and he was very solid from the start. He just got better and better. Every year he got better, particularly as a run defender. But you asked me more as a guy, he became more and more of a leader. And in fact, I think it was Mike McDaniel when Christian Wilkins was having his hold-in last summer, talked about him as the tone setter in practice. He's the guy who brings the energy at practice. You see him. The biggest issue he ever had with his teammates, from all appearances, are when he was jumping on the back of them when they were scoring touchdowns. There's one of those, and actually, the Dolphins had a wide receiver by the name of Preston Williams who scored a touchdown against Arizona in 2020, wound up sustaining a Liz Frank injury while scoring a touchdown, but nobody knew it exactly when it happened. And then right after the touchdown, Wilkins jumped over the top of his back, and there were some people who were suggesting that it was Wilkins who caused the injury. And then you saw him, if you remember, when he got drafted, he basically did a flying chest bump with Commissioner Roger Goodell. I mean, he's a high-energy guy. He's also an agitator who will annoy other teams. He's not afraid to yap on the field. But also not shy about letting his hand roam loose every once in a while. You can check the clips. Don't take my words. He has put his hand in the nether regions. Josh Allen, for example, I'm going to guess is very happy to see him out of the AFC East because it's happened a couple of times. But he is, I'm pretty sure he was a team captain. He was the NFLPA rep for the Dolphins. Very high energy guy from it. So in terms of intangibles, along with what he brings you on the field, you can't ask for much more.
I want to ask you quickly. A couple years ago, they get Mac Hollins, who was a captain. He did great with the Raiders. As a matter of fact, year one was a captain here. Then they get Jonathan Hankins, a terrific human being, great player, had a great season last year. Now they come and they get another captain from you and Christian Wilkins. Why does it seem to be that the Dolphins are willing to let leaders go? Is it just because they are identified as leaders by their teammates early? And is it a money issue? What is it?
You meant, okay, when you said Jonathan Hankins, you mean John Jenkins, correct?
John Jenkins, I apologize. Okay. Yes.
No, it's all good. John Jenkins is an issue of he was an older guy who basically he gets 1-year contracts. And he got I think got 3 different 1-year contracts with the Dolphins, not because they didn't like him, but he was a backup guy, very good in locker room. He's a great dude. Love John Jenkins, but he wasn't necessarily a foundational piece where they couldn't use their resources better somewhere else. With Mac Hollins, I was surprised when they didn't retain him, but that happened when Mike McDaniel came on board as the new head coach, and maybe he had a specific wide receiver type in mind, and Mac Hollins didn't fit that, which to me would be the reason. And in Wilkins, it's strictly financial considerations. So it's not a Dolphin thing about not liking vocal guys. It's strictly, again, they're all different circumstances.
All right, I want to talk to you now about Max Crosby and Christian Wilkins together. They are two guys very, very similar. High motors, play every down, practice like it's a game. They both get in the heads of the opponents. To me, the Raiders got exponentially better with this signing, especially when you pair him with a Max Crosby. And when you throw a Malcolm Kuntz, where Kuntz and Crosby, for the last 9 games of the season, were the best DN combo in the NFL. Tyree Wilson's coming along like a dog. The Raiders, to me, with this signing, got exponentially better. What are your thoughts?
No, that's fair. Again, it's an awful lot of money, but the Raiders obviously had the financial flexibility to get it done. And you pair him up with Max Crosby, you have a really nice 1-2 punch outside inside in terms of the pass rush. Because last year Wilkins was terrific as a pass rusher, which again was missing from his game the previous seasons. And it wasn't strictly sack numbers because that's just too easy to look at, but he wasn't necessarily somebody you really felt in the pass rush. Last year, along with getting 9 sacks, you just felt him. Like he was a presence more often than not in the pass rush. And then the Dolphins also had other very good pass rushers along the defensive line or the edge, however you want to phrase it, with Zach Sealer inside and then Bradley Chubb and Jalen Phillips outside. So they had a lot of components. But without question, Wilkins can make an impact in that game and certainly won't hurt Max Crosby's production. Not that he needs a ton of help to begin with.
All right, my friend. Listen, I can't let you out of here without talking about Tua. What kind of deal you think he's going to get this offseason? I mean, when you look at the money for Kirk Cousins and you look at the money going around here, what do you think Tua's worth? Let me rephrase that.
Oh no, yeah,
I'm not
please,
going to ask
please,
you.
please
I'm not going to ask you what Tua's worth. I'm going to ask you what's Tua going to get.
Yeah, and I laugh because for your Raiders fans, this is well very known in Miami, and anybody who watches the All Dolphins podcast, I am vehemently against the idea of giving Tua a long-term contract extension in the spring in this offseason or this year. I think he should play on the 5th-year option. Totally different, but it's not going to happen. I'm very well aware that they're going to sign him to a long-term extension. They're completely infatuated with him as their quarterback moving forward. I'm thinking he's going to reach 50 mil a season. And again, I don't know. This is my prediction.
Like I heard, let me just tell you can I tell you what I heard? And you tell me if you think it's accurate. I heard 200 million for 4 years, 150 million guaranteed.
That's about the ballpark I would expect. Yeah. And we'll see how that pans out. And I'm going to guess probably 3 of those years are locked in. So that will have meant 7 seasons with Tua. And let's reconvene after year 7 and see where we are.
Listen, I appreciate you. Please tell the family hello for me. Can't wait to get back. We got to get back in the boat together.
Works for me.
Good times on the boat and at the yacht club, right? Good food, good fun,
Absolutely.
good friends.
Absolutely.
All right. He's the great Alan Poupar. Now, I always say this every time the Raiders play them. Follow him on Twitter. Alan, tell him what your Twitter handle is, would you, bud?
No, it's too bad I don't have my name on here. As if we were doing on a different video streaming platform, it would automatically show up, and I didn't make it show up. So it's my last name, which is spelled P as in Peter, O U, P as in Peter, A, R as in Robert, T as in Tom, NFL. And hashtag All Dolphins. You will find all our stuff, written content at alldolphins.com. And I co-host the All Dolphins podcast with Omar Kelly, my fellow writer at alldolphins.com.
Appreciate you, bud. You are one of the best. You're one of the good guys. Thank you, my friend.
You got him, my man. Enjoy the rest of your night.
All right, there's a great recap of Christian Wilkins from a guy that covered him every day. Remember, follow me on X, formerly known as Twitter, when you go to @Hondo Carpenter, IG, Hondo SR, SI.com/NFL/Raiders for all the latest. We'll see you there. Thanks, everybody, for joining us.